The NFL draft is 4 days away, and we are continuing our mock draft mania series. Folks, get ready for another Carolina Panthers mock draft.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. If you are here, please hit the subscribe button. We are continuing our mock draft series. And for those that may have missed the first few, don't worry. We're going to get you caught up to speed, go through these as quickly as possible. For those that have been with us through every mock draft, just bear with us a little bit, and we'll get into today's mock draft. So we should explain exactly what we're doing. At the very last minute last week, I decided, you know what? I haven't done a lot of mock drafts. I'm personally not a big fan of them, but I know fans love them, and we're getting close to the NFL draft. So why not go out and do 7 mock drafts in 7 days? And so that's exactly what we are doing. 1 mock draft per day. We're expanding, adding an additional round. We already know the Carolina Panthers don't have a 6th-round pick as it is today, but we're going to add a round each time. We're going to finish this thing on Wednesday, and what I'm going to do is compile all this into either a PDF or graphic or something for you guys, so you have kind of a cheat sheet of potential picks for the Carolina Panthers round by round. We know it's not going to be perfect science, but just want to give you guys a general idea of who I think the Panthers could select. So without further ado, I think it's important that we go ahead and dive in and take a look at the previous selections. I'll speed through this quickly. Again, you can go back and watch these videos. In the very first few, we get into pretty good detail, but again, as this thing expands and I want to make sure I get through these, we kind of speed things along, just tell you the pick, why I like them, etc. So we'll go ahead and start the quick recap for you. Again, mock. All right, folks, here we go. Round 1, pick 8. This was the first mock draft we did. Tet McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. And I'm not going to rehash these picks. I mean, if you want me to, you can go back, or if you want to hear more of what I had to say, go back and listen to it. But anyways, all right, day 2, rounds 1 and 2. We had a trade. Thought we would spice this things up. Of course, round 1, pick 16, and round 2, pick 47 with the Arizona Cardinals. So that resulted in Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama, Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State, and Princely Umanmielen out of Ole Miss. And I do a terrible job pronouncing his name, but pretty stout group right there. And yesterday we had day 3, which was rounds 1, 2, and 3. Started off with another trade. Again, I'm trying to give the context is this. I'm giving you guys new picks each time as best I can. Tomorrow and the following 3 days, it's going to be difficult to give you guys new picks every single time, but we're going to try. We're going to try our best to fill the gaps and create some scenarios just to spice things up a little bit. But another trade back partner, Bengals, round 1, pick 17, round 2, pick 49 for pick number 8. We select the alpha dog that everybody's talking about. And this was my perfect draft, to be honest. And I talked about it because it's a perfect draft for the Panthers in the fact that some of these players, if they fell to where we see them falling in this model, man, it would be a really good class. But round 1, 17, Jaylin Walker. Round 2, pick 49, Luther Burden. Again, the odds of these things happening, very slim. But hey, we'll take what the board gives us. Carson Schlesinger, linebacker out of UCLA. Again, 2 L's on the UCLA typo. And round 3, pick 74, TJ Saunders. So that does it, folks. That was your recap of the first 3 mock drafts. And if you're wondering how are we on mock draft 6.0, it's because I did 2 mock drafts earlier this year, like February, March timeframe. So now we're here at 6.0 today. You guys know exactly how this works. Again, 1 mock draft every day for 7 days. Today's mock draft, and get into it here in a second, 4 rounds. And we start this thing off with a bang. we take a look at the ties that Dan Morgan has to Seattle. And folks, for today's simulation, I used ESPN's simulator. We'll look at the scores at the end of this. They said when I initially tried round 1, pick 8, round 1, pick 18 and 50, I tried to do a swap, that it wasn't enough. So we threw in a third round pick. You talk about a haul. I don't know that this haul would happen, but it would be perfect for the Panthers. You get a late first round pick, pick number 18, a improved second round pick at pick 50, an additional third round pick. So I like that trade package for the Carolina Panthers. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think we're probably closer to a 1-to-1 swap in the first round, and then maybe a second and third added on, or likely just a second or a third and a fourth. Just the way I see it playing out today. Now, mock draft 6.0, again, folks, trying to give you guys new players. So it may not be the mock draft that you like, but again, we're just trying to be creative with what we have. How about this? Round 1, pick 18, an outside linebacker, an edge that's creeping up a lot of boards. Maybe he's not really creeping up, but he's being talked about a lot more, and that is outside linebacker edge, Donovan Ezeraya Oku. I hope I say that right, man. I am terrible at pronunciations, and this guy lands here in Carolina. Of course, I'll figure out how to pronounce it. But man, you talk about a guy that had a ton of production in college, and I say he's gone under the radar, at least from the sense of the Carolina Panthers, because we haven't really talked about him a lot. Now, I know there's some folks out there in Panthers universe that have mentioned him, but it seems to me that maybe he has taken a few steps forward. Dan Morgan is looking for guys that produced in college, and this guy at 16 and a half sacks, some really good numbers coming out of the ACC. I know the ACC was kind of a down year. Also was coached up by O'Brien, NFL coach with NFL experience. So you check a few boxes when you talk about Boston College and him as a prospect. Also addressing, of course, the need at edge, something that we desperately have to have in Carolina, some pass rushers. Now, we're going to keep similar theme to what we've had in the second round, which is me still looking at wide receivers. I like the idea of a wide receiver if the Panthers have an additional second round pick, or if they can move some things around. I like going ahead and getting your receiver in the second round if they choose to move off Ted McMillan or whoever their guy is within the first round. Let's talk about it. Round 2, pick 50, another Iowa State wide receiver that's shown some promise, and that is Jaylin Noel. Really good target. And he, again, folks who have followed this series know how I've talked about some of these wide receivers. I really look at the guys that maybe the first 2 or 3 is guys that could potentially be your number 1, your X. And a lot of these other guys that come a little bit later in the second, maybe third round, I don't know if anyone would fall to the fourth, at least the Panthers would scoop up. But more of those plug-and-play production pieces that's, would leave some question marks as to who the number 1's going to be. I mean, we expect it to be Xavier Legette, but I really like this pick. Again, focusing on the offensive side of the ball, I know a lot of people still want to talk about defense, and that's all Dan Morgan, Dave Canales have said this entire time. But let's get Bryce Young an additional weapon. That'll be a theme that you continue to hear from me. Now, round 2, pick 57. This is, of course, the Carolina Panthers pick. It is Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas. This dude is a monster on the defensive line. We know where Dan Morgan wants to build, and that is through the defensive front, the front 7 there. Panthers could do wonders bringing in Collins to this rotation, because you're really talking about the future. I know the Panthers brought in Tershawn Wharton. I know they have a few other guys that are here from this past offseason via free agency. You look at a Patrick Jones, you look at the guys that are already here, A'Shawn Robinson, a healthy Derek Brown, what that will mean for this team. But hey, let's get younger, let's get better across the front, and let's not run into issues where, guys go down and you can't plug those holes. And in best case scenario, I mean, you're talking about just having a front 7 rotation in place that could be one of the top in the league compared to where things were. I'm not saying it's anywhere close or would be, but gotta feel a little bit better about that scenario. Now, round 3, pick 74. let's talk about this pick right here. And I actually think as I look, it's not pick 74, it's pick 82, but that's okay. We can still talk about the pick, even though there's a typo. It's Ozzy Trapilo, offensive tackle out of Boston College, primarily played right tackle. This is a scenario for the Panthers that I like because you potentially get your right tackle replacement with Taylor Moton. And folks, when we talk about replacing Taylor Moton, it's not that we want him out of here. It's just you have to acknowledge the situation. You don't want to put yourself in a bad spot next year not having a plan in place. You've got to build out for 2-3 years ahead, and that's what the Panthers were trying to do on defense. But you also got to think about it from offense. Remember, Taylor Moton, $30 million. Now, I don't know if this drafting a right tackle, a tackle in general, is going to push Taylor out this year. I mean, the Panthers could save a ton of money. I just don't know kind of where their cards sit. We know the safety room has its issues and needs, but you still put yourself in position, even if he doesn't play this year or in the event that Moton gets hurt at some point, that you're setting yourselves up for next year. So I like that all the way. Now, we'll close out, if I can get this pulled up, with a few more picks. And for some reason, the picks on here didn't align with – it didn't tie up with the what we got. I'll just throw it up here. Anyways, round 3, pick 82, Oluwafemi Oladepo. Man, these are tough names, just being honest for me personally. Shout out to the folks that have to do this for a living and do it on TV and pronounce these guys. But edge out of UCLA. That's right. I am double dipping at edge, and we'll get all the numbers corrected here at the end so you guys can see it. But taking another edge for the Carolina Panthers makes sense. I think the Panthers, like speaking of preparing for the future, getting younger, if they double dip at edge, yes, I think that's a good thing for the Panthers and where they sit. Now, thus far into the draft, we have not touched a safety yet, and we're already getting close, or technically in the 4th round at this point when the Panthers make a selection. So the value that we're going to get out of that is TBD. I think that's one of the tough spots and where the Panthers sit. How do they value Damani Richardson? That's really the number one question because, you brought in safety to help, but where in the world is the value in Damani Richardson? But with that said, we have Billy Bowman Jr., round 4, pick 111, safety out of Oklahoma. And why not go ahead and close it out? Round 4, pick 114, Demetrius Knight Jr., a linebacker out of South Carolina. So staying heavy on the defensive front. And that does it, folks. Let's take a quick look at the recap and get you guys corrected. Okay, I did have the numbers on there correct, guys. I don't know what happened. But anyways, we got you covered. Donovan Ezeruko, edge at round 1, pick 18. His rank is 24th on ESPN. Jaylin Noel, round 2, pick 50. His rank is 50th on ESPN's rankings. Round 2, pick 57. Alfred Collins, round 60. So all these guys kind of staying in their range. Round 3, pick 74, getting Ozzy Trapilo, offensive tackle. He's ranked 56 on ESPN's board. Getting him at 74th is a steal. Same thing with Oluwafemi Oladepo, who's the edge out of UCLA at rank 55. Then, not to expect too much on the backside, but round 4, 111, Billy Bowman Jr., ranked 92, and Demetrius Knight Jr. as well with pick 94. So that, my friends, is Mock Draft 6.0. It is your 4th mock draft in 4 days, which means we have 3 days left. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll add an additional round. Like we said, we'll go to the 5th round tomorrow. Maybe on Tuesday, we'll do a straight-up draft with no trades, or at least not trading the first pick. We'll see. Final mock draft on Wednesday. I'm going to compile all this again so you guys can see it. And we'll see where the Panthers land. Doing my best to give you guys educated guesses for where the Carolina Panthers may be looking to improve their team. As always, folks, this is Carolina Dad. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good one.